Boker Tov, good morning. Good morning, good morning as we get ready for another week. Starting on this Yom Rishon, this first day of the week, this Sunday morning. Looking forward to spending some time together this morning. You feel rested this morning? I hope you do, that you had a good Shabbat yesterday. Sleeping for a number of people seems to be somewhat complicated in our current reality. It's hard to know on a given night how things are going to feel in the morning, huh? Well, it's good to be together here and get ready for our first stream of the new week as we look forward in just a little bit to starting out together. A bit of an overcast morning. I hope that that stays outside and that it feels bright and good inside. Oh. Boker Tov, and welcome to Boker Tov with Temple Sinai, this daily moment together with Temple Sinai of Toronto for us to connect, to reflect, and remember. And continuing as we are, having come through another wonderful Shabbat, a special Shabbat, because it was not only Shabbat, but Rosh Chodesh, but the first day of the new month of ER. Traditional counting, the second month of the year, as Pesach falls in Nisan, the first month of the year. We find ourselves this morning again to turn back to our weekday prayers, the central blessings of our Amidah, of our prayer said while standing, that also not just reminds us to stand up and to stretch, much the opposite, but says, how can you stretch yourself? What is it that you stand for? And the text that we want to look at this morning is, I've translated the title of it as a divine strength. It comes down to the last word in the signature blessing that you see on the screen before you, this word Yeshua. Yeshua is often translated as deliverance, or even redemption, and yet in a biblical sense, in the original sense, in our Tanakh, in our Hebrew Bible, it definitely refers to a not a supernatural strength, but a strength in this world. And really, our understanding of that word and what's involved in it isn't about our understanding of this particular prayer. It's about our understanding when we consider our own lives and where we find meaning in our world, about what do we believe is the larger mission that gives meaning to that word, to those days. These last three words of the signature blessing, Matzmiach Keren Yeshua, that we bless God as the one who lahatzmiach is to cause to sprout. Keren is like is also in modern Hebrew a foundation, but what it really means also is the original part of something that then grows. It's an economic term in many ways, that it refers to something, a basis, a foundation that then later grows. And a strength needs to sprout and grow. So you can tell it's Sunday morning as I get my brain moving. That's why I've chosen in English to say, let the seeds of your strength sprout soon, that we want to see the seeds of divine strength sprouting in this world. But what does that mean? And if we go back to the beginning of the blessing, we find that within this blessing, both in the traditional blessing and this reform version on the right and the Temple Sinai version on the left, that each one of those has slightly a different take on how our world can grow and sprout. That our job eventually is not to finish the work, but to plant the seeds. And what is it? What are the seeds that we are planting? Now, that first line, let the seeds of righteousness soon sprout, is a different line than we find in the historical and traditional liturgy here, at least in the Ashkenazi world, where it says, Et tzemach David let the sprout of David, meaning King David, and the messianic goal, soon flower, may it soon sprout. So tzemach, the word that means a sprout or new growth, is understood in a number of different ways. It's a word that we find in Tanakh, in the Bible, and it's understood to be a word that in symbolic form expresses our hopes for the better future. Now, it used to say Tzemach David, now it says Tzemach Tzedakah, the sprout of righteousness, right? We know that our modern version of Judaism talks about our responsibility to improve and repair the world, and that's why we're here. Whereas there's a different stream of thought in Judaism that our goal is to recreate in a modern way Malchut David, really the ruling strength and power of King David. That are we viewing the future as something that we try to build by returning to the past as much as possible, or do we believe more firmly in progress? I think that's the difference between these two. However, as we can see, it's not a difference of who affirms the tradition or who doesn't. That in fact, this particular phrase comes from the three different places in the Bible, including here in chapter 33 of the book of Jeremiah. And here in verses 14 and 15, in a series of prophecies from the ancient prophet who lived now about over 2,600 years ago, says Jeremiah, "See, days are coming, declares the Eternal, when I will fulfill the promise that I made concerning Beit Yisrael, the house of Israel, Beit Yehuda, house of Judah, the northern and southern kingdoms, the different elements of the Jewish people that made up for a disunited whole Jewish community. It existed then in that state, and it continues to exist now in that way." And what does the prophet continue and say? "In those days and at that time, I will raise up," here's the English translation, "a true branch of David's line, and he shall do what is just and right in the land." So on the one hand, the Jeremiad says it's about David, it's about David. And on the other hand, it's about securing and improving the world. It's about doing what's just and right. And if we look at the Hebrew of 15 there, in the same way, we see the entirety of the phrases that we find in the different liturgies. Beyamim hahem uva'et hahi, in days to come and at a specific time, atzmiach leDavid tzemach tzedakah. I will cause to sprout for David. Does that mean the Davidic kingdom, as is translated here, or the descendants of David, which in symbolic fashion, when we look at the Star of David as a symbol of our state and of ourselves, we all can say we are that. And what is it? A growth of righteousness, right, doing justice and right in the world, in the land. That even in verse 16, in those days Judah shall be delivered and Israel shall be secure. And that's where we have justice tivashea, shall experience Yeshua, what we find in our prayer. And so here in this original source that creates the words that we find in our Siddur, we find in this ancient source both elements. A source that says that the continuity of ancient reality matters. And yet, at the same time, what is it that is the goal of that seeking? The goal is to create a life that is real and right and just. And in fact, that our tradition, our modern tradition, affirms that on a strong foundation, a Karen that is ancient, we need to cause to flower a world of progress, a world that says that we don't have to cycle back to the past. But we need to be informed by the past. We need to take our seeds from the past and plant a future of progress and what is new. And in fact, the phrase that I have here on the left side of your screen, created in the Temple Sinai blessing, actually comes from the traditionalist liturgy, from a part of the traditional Ashkenazi morning service in the preparation for the Shema. So these are words for me that have become so important about what is it that we strive to do, what is it that I can try to strive to do in any given day, to see that Yeshua is more present in the world, that divine strength, that righteousness, that a better time is coming. My job is the fourth line of Hebrew on the left, Zorea Tzedakah Umatzmiach Yeshua. I always wondered if the idea is to cause something better to sprout, what are the seeds that we need to plant? And this phrase from the traditional liturgy says, Zorea tzedakah umatzmiach Yeshua. We have to take tzedakah, and we have to take right and righteousness and caring and doing for others, and that's what we need to sow. And from sowing that righteousness, it's from that divine strength in our world, that a presence of the divine in our world will sprout. Wow, it's a lot to take in on a Sunday morning. But what it really reminds us, this prayer that we say each morning, is first and foremost, as Rabbi Fred Strauss, Alav Shalom, who is the rabbi of Temple Shalom in Chicago for many years, who I had the opportunity to know when I was in rabbinical school. His way of saying is, he said that from a Jewish perspective, that we need to wake up each day with a profound sense that the Messiah hasn't come yet. He wasn't waiting for a personal Messiah or some descendant of the house of David, but in symbolic form, to remember each day that we can make the world better, that every day the world, it doesn't stay the same. That in a world where we say, every day it's as if creation is started anew. There is a choice. Are we going to get a step closer to the world we want, or be a step further away? And that step is not taken by some amorphous group, and it's not taken by the world or society. It's taken by you, and it's taken by me. And we say each day, are we willing to be Zolei Tzedakah Umatzmiach Yeshua? Are we willing to be, what kind of seeds are we planting today? It is that seed planting time of year. And so I hope that symbolism speaks to you as much as it does to me. And awareness also that we need to continue to do right and invest in a better future, even when, or I would say especially when, we can't immediately see that future growing in the next day or two. I know from talking to families who are experiencing illness at this time, that with the pressure they're under and the isolation and its impact, it's hard to feel or see anything else. And so hopefully each of us can continue to do what is right, to plant seeds of hope and seeds of goodness and seeds of connection, especially for those who are most isolated, those who are ill, and please, for those who are out there on the front lines, doing work so that our lives might be able to continue. Those frontline workers, let's plant good seeds with them and for them today too, as we turn to these words of refuah, this traditional prayer for strength and healing. Mishuberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel hu yarapeh et kol makotenu. Yirat son milfenecha Adonai Eloheinu lahachalimam ularaputam, vishlach lanu mehera, refuah shlema v'teret shalom, v'nomar, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and together we say, Amen. We turn now to our moment of memory that for our Sinai community, for each of us who may be taking part in this moment, we turn our hearts and our prayers to those who died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. During the past 30 days, we extend our condolences to the families of Sidney Burns, Ann Williamson, Henry Schneider, Gloria Victor, Dorothy Besser, Harvey Leopold, Lauren Barsky, Hannah Glatter, Ruth Kelman, and we also remember the 22 victims of the mass shooting in Nova Scotia. And this morning it is our sad duty to report the death of Marcia Mason, wife of Jim, mother of Jeremy, sister of Stephen and Michael Wise, and of Andrea Pollock. Funeral arrangements are being made this morning through Benjamin's Park Memorial Chapel. On your site, on the anniversaries of their deaths this morning, we remember David Bloom, Saul Jacob Costin, Sidney Drucker, Robert Edelstein, Rose Faig, Rosalind Feinberg, David Fox, Michael Halpern, Alex Heller, Harry Kaplan, Gladys Corman, Zili Lazar, Bernard Newton, Jack Plonka, Boris Roden, Harry Solomon, Max Walnerman. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words of Kaddish Yatom, to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, be'alma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, u'b'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudisha b'reichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say, Amen. This morning, 2 memorial donations have been made to the Rabbi's Discretionary Fund. A donation has been made by Bram and Beth Costin in memory of Saul Jacob Costin, and a donation has been made by Pearl Drucker in memory of Sidney Drucker and David Bloom. A reminder that tomorrow evening, we'll have, of course, our regular Boker Tov Sinai stream tomorrow morning at 8:30. And tomorrow evening is the beginning of Israel Memorial Day, Yom HaZikaron. And so tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m., there's a very special study session as part of our Sinai Streams offerings. Tomorrow night, 7:30, by Rabbi Larry Englander, talking about the meaning of this significant day as expressed in Israeli song and culture. Take a deep breath, make it a great day today.